Hello, my name is Katie Pell, and this is my career project. I am doing mine on uh, high school English teachers, or also known as secondary teachers, and as well as a post secondary teacher or college professors in English or literature. So, for a long time, I always thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I have always loved animals, and I always thought they were wonderful beings, and I've always wanted to be around them. I wanted to help them. They're great. Up until about ninth grade, I started to grow out of that phase, and I just felt pretty lost about what I wanted to do. There have been a ton of occupations where I thought about going into, such as therapy or creative writing, because I'm not a very big STEM person. That's one of the biggest drawbacks of becoming a veterinarian is you have to do a lot of STEM subjects in college. So I started to think a lot more, and I decided to take the aspect of helping people from therapy and the creative writing from writing, and how could I combine the two to get a job? Well, I thought about, oh, what if I become a high school English teacher, or a eventually a post secondary teacher and teach college students. I specifically am thinking about high school, but I would possibly go back to get my master's because of the money. High school teachers don't make the most. I wanted to do high school because I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Almost every single second, I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to be at home. I wish I could do my own thing. The only reasons why I stayed and didn't just do virtual school the entire time was because of the teachers. Yes, there are definitely teachers who don't care, but the teachers that did, I appreciated them so, so much. And I always wanted to be around them. And I always looked forward to their class. Whenever I got something, I felt ecstatic. I understood something that I didn't understand before, especially when it came to math. Whenever I had a really good math teacher, it blew my mind. I never could understand math, but I had one teacher who was amazing. And what I want to do is I want to be a teacher, one of those teachers. I want to be there for my kids. I want to treat them like people. I want to have discussions in my class, and I just want to not only teach them about literature and writing, but teach them about the outside world, because high school is a very scary time. You don't know what you want to do. You're very lost. Your hormonal brain tells you that things are worse than they actually are, and I want to be there for kids who are going through the same thing that I did. And I currently enjoy college because of the professionalism of the professors. And I would also like to be like that. Plus, there's a lot more free will in college, which is why I'm considering it. So there are a couple of education requirements for uh, secondary teaching. You need to get your BA in whatever you want to teach, and in my case, it'll be English or literature. And then you have to get a teaching license in school. And for Florida, you have to go to a EPI, which is a Educator Preparation Institute, and you take a smaller course in there. During college, they give you some educator courses, but you're mainly majoring in the course you want to teach. So for EPIs, they teach you how to teach pretty much. And then after that, you take 3 exams, and if you pass all the exams, you get your certification. Now, for college, you have to take an extra step, and you have to get a master's, which is an extra 2 years on top of your BA. Um, and then you do the same, you have to get a license. Now, the salaries for teaching is not the best, which is a lot of the reason why not teachers, people don't really want to go into teaching. You have to do a lot for a little bit of money. Um, for secondary teachers, the median salary in the USA is about 60,000 if you work at a public school. However, it is 53,000 for private schools. Now, the median salary in the USA can kind of be deceiving because you have a couple of states out there like California or Alaska or New York that pay about 90,000. They balance out the entire rest of the country where the majority is closer to like 55, or you could be Florida where it's only 50. There was no data found on private schools for Florida, but I can assure you it is significantly less than the 49. And the reason being is why private schools are they pay way less is because they're only funded by tuition instead of the government as well. They have to rely directly on their students to pay them, and so you have to cut things somewhere. For post-secondary teachers, however, the median salary is $68,000 and Florida's is $67,000. That outlook looks a lot better if you're going to go into teaching. That's why people think about getting their master's, because they will be able to get paid better. And that's why I'm considering going into becoming a professor instead of remaining in a high school level. I'm not entirely sure if I still want to do that, like I said before, because I think high school will be more, I think I'd like high school a lot more. So the job outlook for secondary teachers is 8% by 2026, starting at 2016. This is according to the Occupation Outlook Handbook. And that's about average. It's a little bit faster than average, and this is because a lot of teachers are going to be retiring by 2024 and creating more job openings for upcoming teachers. Mainly, it's supposed to be in the math and science region, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to English. For post-secondary teachers, however, the rate is supposed to increase by 15%, and this is because people have so much more access to college, and it is even considered a stigma now to not attend college. Even 20 years ago, you will see people more people go into blue-collar jobs that don't require a secondary, a primary education, I should say. Secondary is high school. So the working environment for teachers is, as you can imagine, a big building, and you're stuck in a classroom all day with about 20 to 30 students. This is for secondary teacher, of course. Now for a primary teacher or a college professor, you can be stuck up to 300 students a day, and that's what kind of turns me off about going into another reason why it turns me off about going into college is because I like smaller classrooms, and I know that's an option, but it's kind of harder to do with such a general, broad topic of English. Now, I prefer having smaller classrooms because I want to get to know my students better. And something you're going to have to expect from being a teacher is that it's stressful. I know a lot of people wouldn't expect that, but according to the teacher certification website, it can be long, long days that you're not even scheduled for. So let's say you're scheduled for 9 hours a day, but you're going to have to take an additional couple of hours at home to grade papers or come up with projects or things like that. Not many people like to commit that much work when it comes to such a minimal salary, unfortunately. But it can be very rewarding. At least I think so. You always will have something to do, and I like that because I don't like to be stuck around just fiddling my thumbs. So some of the job duties, of course, are teaching. That's why you're called a teacher. I would be teaching how to comprehend reading a lot better. So basically, they would be reading a certain passage, and then they would analyze it and tell me what they understand from it. Same goes for college. It's not really much different. The only difference is it'd be more complex reading. They also would have to start learning how to write essays a lot better. With essays, you are going to have to use them up in your entire academic career pretty much, and sometimes even in your job, especially if you're doing research. So it's important to understand how to write and how to write effectively and efficiently. Some interesting facts, according to TES News, is that teaching is actually one of the most stressful jobs that there can be, and it is considered, in their list at least, the third most stressful job. And it is because you're going to have to deal with your faculty, who may not agree with what you're doing, parents who may not agree with what you're doing and that their child is always right, and students who could be, misbehaved or something like that. And it's all on you. You're one person. You have to maintain a classroom of 20 kids, plus the remaining classes that you have throughout the day. So let's say I teach 5 classes a day. That is about 100 students that I will have to teach. and maintain for the entire time. And then additionally, it'll have to be 1 or 2 parents per student that I'll have to inform or I'll have to talk to. Hopefully that won't be the case, but because I don't want every one of my students to be troublesome. And then you have to have faculty and staff agree with you and be on the same page and, things like that. May 7th is National Teacher Appreciation Day, so if you are out and about, still in high school or see an old teacher, give them a little thanks. Say thank you for teaching me and being there for me and dealing with everything. Education is actually one of the lowest paying jobs that requires a BA, unfortunately. In Florida, like I said, it's only $49,000 on average to teach. And the average when you have a bachelor's is about $60,000. So we teachers don't get as much, unfortunately. And then while it does not pay as much, it can also offer loan forgiveness, which means that you can apply. There's there's a competition in Florida specifically where they will take off about $17,000 off your loans if you apply and get it approved. You have to work in teaching for about 5 years first and then submit an application. You're more excited, and that's everything about my project. Thank you so much for listening.